wrestling, Commissioner Double Cross needs to change the rules. Well, guess what? I'm not the only one who's been robbed here recently. They say misery loves company. Well, I got some company coming with me, and we're going to rain down misery on a whole lot of people around here because he's been ripped off, I've been ripped off. We should both have championship gold around our waist. Let's bring out my partner, the Mad Trucker, Garry Stevens.
Yeah, baby! Tony made the house right here, tell you!
Very pivotal match for 4 individuals. There are no titles on the line, but all men know what being a champion is all about. As right now, the former Mid-Atlantic television champion, a very handsome man, Mitch Connor, is locking up with one half of the current Mid-Atlantic tag team champions, J Money.
Yeah, J Money, also known around the wrestling area as God, one of the most well-respected young men in this sport today. Tagging now with Will B. Smooth in his corner as the new Southside players. But, I mean, look who Connor brought to the ring. That's Garry Stevens on the apron.
Yeah, they definitely have a very similar mindset as of late. Mitch Connor and Garry Stevens, former champions. Garry Stevens just lost his heavyweight title on December the 18th at Barricade 6. Mitch Connor just lost his January 7th at New Year's Knockout.
Yeah, but Mitch Connor didn't get a concussion at the hands of Little Billy when he lost his title.
Yeah, that Billy Club that Garry Stevens carries around has been very inconspicuous by his absence ever since, because in Garry Stevens' mind, that Billy Club is a living, breathing human being.
Yeah, Little Billy, according to Garry Stevens, is still in intensive care and has yet to even accept a King's hot dog milkshake from him since the December 18th.
I think that Garry Stevens has been traumatized as much by losing his title as he was that Ric Converse hit him upside the head with Little Billy.
Well, I mean, we kept hearing the trucker talk about, look what Converse did with my little child. Little Billy's not a child, he's made out of oak with a piece of lead nailed to him.
Will be Smooth unloading some lead across the chest of Mitch Connor, dropping the elbow. The Southside players, the defining tag team in the Mid-Atlantic for years now. Going back to the year 2000, J Money and LA Cash were the original Southside players. They held the tag team titles on 2 occasions. They won the Tag Team of the Year award twice. And then in late 2004, after LA Cash had retired, J Money and Will B. Smooth reunited.
That's easy for you to say.
United as the new Southside players. People said, even myself said, well, they'll never match the original Southside players. Well, they held the tag team titles ever since last March 19th, and they're coming up on 1 year now.
Yeah, you're talking about 2000 when it was LA Cash and J Money. You also got to remember, back in 2000, the players would sometimes compete in 6-man title action, and they brought their 3rd player in, one of my favorites, Garry, a Playboy Trip. But then you look now, 2006, you look down on the apron, you got Miss Kia Mocha standing outside. Does she wrestle?
Yeah, she does not wrestle, but sometimes she seems more fitted for a wrestling ring than Playboy Burt Tripp, as J Money making the cover on Mitch Connor, who's kicking out at 2.
That's right, J Money's checking with referee Cockroach Keys, find out that was just a 2 count. Cheap shot up under the chin by Connor. He tags in the Mad Trucker, Garry Stevens.
And Garry Stevens definitely, Garry Stevens tripped up by J Money. Fast double team action by the Southside players, showing why they are the Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, I tell you what, Will Smooth just dropped both boots right to the side of the face to the Mad Trucker. He's trying to get back up to a standing position. J Money's doing everything he can to keep him down.
Yeah, it's going to take some double team action to take care of the Mad Trucker, Garry Stevens, because there is not really a bigger man in CWF Mid-Atlantic rings, and when he's not in his right mind, it's when he's the most dangerous. And trust me, right now, Garry Stevens is not in his right mind.
If you're thinking he's anywhere near his right mind, you're about 3 states away.
Garry Stevens is right now. You can really tell how much losing that Mid-Atlantic heavyweight title and Little Billy has affected him because he has not been the same man since December 17th.
I mean, Little Billy, come on, look at it. You're talking about a tire knocker that a truck driver purchases at a truck stop somewhere up and down the road. Oh, he just got to buy another one.
Garry Stevens and Mitch Connor having a little bit of a regrouping session on the outside. You know, both of them are former champs. They want those titles back so very bad. Of course, Mitch Connor is trying to take a slightly different route in getting his title back, as he's actually petitioning to just have it handed back over to him. Garry Stevens lost it in one of the most bloodthirsty cage matches I've ever seen at Battle Cage 6 when he was pinned by Ric Converse. And I'll tell you one thing. If you like blood in your wrestling, you owe it to yourself to pick up the Battle Cage 6 DVD at CWFShopZone.com.
That's right. That was one nasty night of bloodletting. The first cage match in CWF Mid-Atlantic history. And I'm going to tell you, it's one that will go down in history.
Yeah, I know it took me, it took you back, the old days of the cage match. It wasn't about when you climbed out and escaped. It wasn't about, you know...
Why am I seeing Paul Orndorff and Hulk Hogan when you say that?
I love that cage match, but regardless, this was the old school Mid-Atlantic, just guts and blood cage match. That's all it was. It was brutal. It was physical. The referee was a complete mess by the end of it. Garry Stevens bled like human beings should not bleed, period. And of course, Ric Converse covered in his own blood, covered in Garry Stevens' blood, and he emerged victorious, holding the Mid-Atlantic heavyweight title for a third time.
That's right. Now we've got a legal tag. The Mitch Connor, now the legal man in, going straight to the top of the head with a big fist. Will Be Smooth is trying to hold himself up. Connor's going to help him out of the corner.
And of course, you know, if Garry Stevens and Mitch Connor can emerge victorious here, to them this says, we are the rightful champions. We may not be the rightful tag team champions, although they'll probably claim that as well, but we are the rightful champions for both the television and heavyweight.
Look, anything that Mitch Connor claims, I am not surprised. I am not surprised he's not come up and claimed to be the main cameraman on this program. However, if Garry Stevens claims that he's going to come over and take my seat, I'm going to get up and move.
I will, yeah, exactly. Whatever Garry Stevens says, I will listen to. And just looking at this combination, it's kind of an oddball water and oil mixture of Mitch Connor and Garry Stevens. But just sitting here watching this match, I'm thinking, hey, we've got one heck of a contest in the future. What if Commissioner Cross were to put Mitch Connor and Garry Stevens together as a team against the men they claim stole their titles, Ric Converse and the Boogie Woogie Man Rob McBride? That's a tag team main event I'm looking forward to in CWF rings.
Well, you know, Rob McBride and Ric Converse, over the years, they've actually faced off against each other. Right now, they're on the best terms they've ever been in their career. I mean, they even posed for photos after a show recently, and that was the conversation they was having. Hey, remember we used to beat each other up? You know?
Yeah, in New Year's Knockout, who was one of the first individuals to congratulate Rob McBride on pinning Mitch Connor for the Mid-Atlantic television title? It was Slick Diddy, Ric Converse, and the celebration was on.
That's right. It looks like the celebration's on for the Mad Trucker. He just slams Will Be Smooth down, drops a big leg across the throat. This could be it. He's going for the cover. Referee's down. Get a 1-2 count. Will Smooth able to able to break out on the 2.
You know, one thing about the Southside players, and specifically Will Be Smooth, they have locked horns with Garry Stevens how many times over the past year in both tag team and singles competition. I remember, I believe it was last May, Will Be Smooth wrestled Garry Stevens in a no disqualification match, and Jay Money, rarely do you see Jay Money get fired up, but he tried to beat Garry Stevens to death with that crutch.
Yeah, Jay Money, it takes a lot to get him going, but if you ever get his fuse lit and he goes off, you don't want to be anywhere around him. If you want to go back a little bit farther in history, go back to one of the matches we had at Foxtown probably a little over a year ago. Do you remember the singles match between Slick Diddy, Ric Converse, and Will Smooth? That was the coming out for Will Smooth in CWF Mid-Atlantic. I mean, he was showing off these drop kicks that were like 6 feet in the air that night.
Yeah, earlier on, of course, we mentioned Rob Guerrero had one of the prettiest drop kicks. Well, the other man that falls in that category is Will Be Smooth, as I'm thinking Jim Brunzell every time Will Be Smooth goes airborne.
Yeah, his extension is amazing, but right now he's not getting very much extension after that shoulder breaker, writhing in pain on the floor. Mitch Connor going to go out and run his mouth about a title he no longer has.
Will Be Smooth made him pay for it. I can't believe Mitch Connor will not let that issue with the Mid-Atlantic television title go. You lost it. Get a rematch and get over it.
Yeah, I mean, all this complaining and all this watching video, and the time you're doing that, why don't you petition for a rematch?
Exactly. He's wasting more time on something that may never happen when he should be putting into a rematch like you said.
Wait a minute. Ronnie Garvin is not from Milwaukee. What's up with this?
Mitch Connor, I don't even know where his head is some days. Is he trying to win a ballet contest? Is he trying to win a wrestling contest? Is he trying to win political office? What is the deal with Mitch Connor?
Mitch Connor, I have no clue. That is one of the most enigmatic performers in the Mid-Atlantic today, and I've got to wonder if he knows what he's even aiming for at this point.
Hey, anytime you team with Garry Stevens, that says a lot about yourself and you not being in the right mind either.
Yeah, well, you've got to be a little bit out of your mind to team with Garry Stevens, because Garry doesn't mind damaging his own partner to get what he wants.
And Garry Stevens just all of 330-plus pounds laying across the back of Will Be Smooth.
And I tell you what, referee Joe Cockroach Keys, he's doing his best to get on the big man, but if he starts towards you, Joe, you better get out of the ring.
Of course, you know, Will Be Smooth, he can absorb a heck of a lot of punishment. I'd say he can absorb as much punishment for a man his size as anyone in CWF Mid-Atlantic today.
Yeah, he's one of the most resilient young men, very flexible, but I'm telling you, being stuck in the wrong corner, getting beat down by this monster mad trucker, and this handsome Mitch, I mean, this can't last forever. He's got to make a tag.
Boy, Garry Stevens just taking liberties with Will Be Smooth in the corner, now allowing Mitch Connor to have his shots.
And I tell you what, Mitch Connor's going to tag the trucker right back.
Well, come on, Ralph. Referee Cockroach Keys, can he count any slower on the 5?
Oh, your mama like that when I said agreeing.
Poor Will Smooth, he is in a world of hurt. Something needs to happen, even if J Money runs over there and distracts these guys, allow his partner to get out of this corner.
Like we said earlier, J Money has a very long fuse, but when that thing gets ignited, you better watch out. And I gotta think J Money ain't gonna sit back and watch too much more. Oh, Will Be Smooth firing back. Will Be Smooth beating Mitch Connor and Garry Stevens half to death with those chops. It's a one-man assault, and Will Be Smooth collapses into the AWA logo.
And I tell you what, the referee ought to go ahead and roll him back over towards his own corner, because he just beat the fire out of two men that have for the last 5 minutes been double-teaming him and giving him everything they've got.
Now, I wanted to tap out watching that onslaught.
And I tell you what, J Money's got to be concerned, but you know, we were wondering why he wasn't jumping in the ring. I think maybe he knows a little more about the extents and the limits of his own partner than we do.
What were we saying about Will Smooth being able to absorb some punishment? Good gravy.
He's trying to get back up on his feet. I mean, this is valiant. Mitch Connor's got hold of the ankle, trying to keep him from getting back in his corner, but Connor's going to take a boot right to the top of the head.
How many times have I said it? Will Be Smooth may not know a wrist lock from a wrist watch, but he's a fighter, and he's making the tag to J Money.
J Money's a legal man. Trucker ducks under the clothesline, but he hits him straight on right in the face. Finally gets Trucker down with another clothesline.
Yeah, Trucker didn't duck number 2 or 3 there.
J Money, fist of fire. He has fired up the rested man. He is going straight to the face of the Trucker over here in the corner, calling Will Smooth back in. Looks like they're going to try to double team the Trucker and handsome Mitch.
Oh, I'm just hoping we get to see a drop kick before this one's over. The players shoot Garry Stevens off. What a backdrop!
And Garry Stevens laying flat on the canvas. Will Smooth, I mean, he is...
Oh! Will ducked. J Money caught it. Will with Mitch Connor now.
And I tell you what, look at the chest of Mitch Connor. If you get a chance in this shot, look at the chest of Mitch Connor, because I believe they're getting ready to light it up just a little bit more.
Oh, they're setting up for the new 3P, they call it. J Money has him hooked. Will Be Smooth with the clothesline. J Money flips over, and this is indeed going to be it. Garry Stevens with the save on J Money at the very last possible second. Garry Stevens now has J Money isolated. Will be Smooth and Mitch Connor, but kind of out of it on the apron there. Garry Stevens has J Money up. Could be a powerbomb. No, Will be Smooth. Drop kicks. Garry Stevens square in the chest, but inadvertently sends his tag team championship partner careening outside the ring to the concrete floor. Smooth with the cover. Garry Stevens be able to get out of it too.
I tell you what, look at this. Stevens is getting his chest lit up, laying flat on his back by Smooth. Smooth's trying to drag him out and get enough room to drop an elbow in. Goes for the cover again. Referee's down, only able to get a 2 count. The trucker's got a leg draped across the bottom rope.
Oh, Will be Smooth had it caught it. Very impressive drop kick, but inadvertently taking his own partner out of the game. Will be Smooth, though, still has Garry Stevens on the rope. Reversal by the Mad Trucker. Smooth ducks underneath. One clothesline. Lariat by Garry Stevens. We've seen him win him before. Garry Stevens with the cover. Has the leg hook. Cockroach with the count.
And I tell you what, referee calls for the bell. We've still got fisticuffs going on outside the ring. J Money makes his way in to make sure his partner is going to live to fight another day. This is a major upset. You've got to look at it. A major upset anytime the AWA Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champions get defeated by pinfall in the center of the ring.